Come on. Give it just a minute here. I think we're good. All right. And we are live everywhere. We're on the tubes. We're on Facebook. I'm not going to triple dip. I'm just going to double dip today. It's kind of a lot to set up a third setup for the profile. It doesn't really get much outreach anyways. Not a big deal. All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down. Let's discuss kind of this current event, and then we'll come over into what other topics people want to discuss. Obviously, we got veins busting out because it's afternoon. I'm carved up. Had a really good workout today, by the way. Really good workout. But as soon as you guys get in here, please please comment. Let's get everything flowing. So we have this Tyler Robinson. Is he related to Tony Robinson? Probably not. It's a very, very, very common last name. Possible, but statistically unlikely. We do know a lot of things about him, though. Number one, we obviously know a bit about his family. They were Mormons and conservatives, but his family had said that he, in recent years, had gone very, very far left, had gone too far left-wing extremist political ideas. We know he was registered to vote, but not to either party. He was inactive. We know that his roommate, who was a romantic partner and a boyfriend, okay, is in the process of transitioning as transgender. Although the FBI, when discussing that, said they don't know if that was a factor or part of his motive. Right? We could speculate, but they don't know for sure. Right? Johnny, what a really strange comment. You're kind of weird. All right. But these are the things that we know. We also know that they found his DNA on the site. We know that there's a number of evidence, including family members turning him in. So this is the stuff that we know so far. And I think it's been pointed out a bunch of people were wrong. They had said that they predicted that this shooter was going to be transgender, and it turns out they are not, although, so they got that wrong. Although his boyfriend is, it doesn't mean that he is, right? So much for that theory, guys. That theory got shot down that a lot of people had. But what we do know is, again, he's someone who held far left ideology. We saw the stuff that was put on the cartridges. So these are the things that we know. Right, these are the things that we know right now, and more is going to emerge on this. I've been covering this a lot in these afternoon things, like I've done several of these, just trying to discuss the different events going on in the world. But this is kind of the biggest event, in the world out there at the moment. That's kind of in the headlines, right? No, he was far left, dude. Sorry, Johnny. This is what we know, right? This is what we know about this person. Although there's a certain point of, there is that theory that's called like the horseshoe theory, that if you go far enough either direction, you can't tell them apart to some extent because the stuff being the same. I don't know what Griper, I don't know what that is. Groiper? No, his family said he was involved in far left politics, and he was calling the guy a fascist. And yeah. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Meta barbell. Not a term I'm familiar with. But this is what we know. Definitely far left ideology. We know that, his romantic partner was a guy who's transitioning. Right? This is stuff that we know. All right. To be honest, though, Jason, if you don't know what a griper is, you're not really in a position to comment. What do you mean? Why do I have to know every slang term? I'm familiar with different ideologies. I don't know what that one is. Hold on. I guess I better go look it up. Let's go Urban Dictionary. Right. Let's go look this up. I've heard this term before. The alt-right. He doesn't seem to be that way at all based upon. All right. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Go clear a second. Nothing about his stuff seems to be that. Okay, so if you look at the stuff, definitely not. They're anti-fascist, homophobic. Well, he called the guy a fascist while attacking him. So that's clearly wouldn't have classified Charlie as that. He's in that. He was having relations with a man, so that's not making sense with this either. Yeah. So, yeah, no, they weren't. So, I don't know. But in any event, man, you guys sure jumped in here to jump on that pretty quickly. Do you agree with Kirk's core views? Not necessarily. Like when I look at what he said, there are things that he said I agreed with, and there's things that I disagreed with. I held a fairly neutral view on Kirk, of Charlie Kirk, right? Leaning towards favoritism, right? Leaning towards favoritism, but I wasn't really a fan, you know? Right? Wasn't really a fan. Man, we're getting a bit of some crazies jumped in this one immediately. Some crazies jumped in it already. Hold on. So, what else do we have here? So, no, based on what we're seeing, again, his family was saying, this is based upon what the FBI's released. This is based on what the FBI's released. So if you think the FBI and them are wrong, or Governor Cox, then I guess you need to take that up with them. Fascist equals anyone to the right of Bernie Sanders, according to, well, probably to the extremist defiant. I don't think that's necessarily true of everyone who's on the left. I don't think they hold universal views. Right? But man, these couple of guys I've never seen in any of my stuff before. Right? These are new people into my stream. They jumped in immediately defensive of that. So how about you guys? But you asked the question, do I agree with his core views? I agree with a pretty significant chunk as I've looked further into it, but not across the board. No, it's not like I look at it and say, oh, he's right on everything. He's right on a lot of stuff. I can appreciate what he's doing, though, of what he was doing, of essentially taking debate in public, right? A turn of Barbara. Okay, I just don't recall you having been in any of them. Let me go see if you're like a new account. Let's make sure you're an old one. If you're a new account that was just made, then it'd be different. No, you're an old account. Okay. Make sure you're not someone I banned who said, "Oh, I've been in here a lot." Damn. No, you're an old account. All right, very possible. I don't know who Johnny Dare is though. All right, guys. So that pretty much broke down kind of what we know about the guy. Let's talk about whatever else you guys want to talk about. We have something going there. But, what we also have, and I think that we need to think of and be aware of, this is something that we have to address as a society too, of irrespective of the specific ideology. This is a reoccurring problem, isn't it, on the internet, of we have a lot of people who are online who get involved in these various extremist groups and cultures, okay? Whether they're far, far left, whether they're far, far right, all right? We get this radicalization that has been occurring more and more online that we didn't always see in previous generations, and I think that's a problem. That's a problem that we have to address. And I don't know how we as a society are going to address that, but it is a growing problem, and it's a real problem to where we are seeing all these homegrown extremists coming through these various internet subcultures, coming off the dark web, coming out of, other places, 4chan, Reddit, where these different groups create their own echo chambers. They create their echo chambers of extremism. And oftentimes it's the case of disenfranchised young men. Okay, that is the easiest victim for any of these groups. So let's set aside of not even him specifically and different people in them who get drawn into these circles. These are often disenfranchised young men are the easy targets for groups like this, whether it's far left groups, whether it's far right groups, whether it was ISIS. ISIS did the same thing. Okay, again, appealed to and radicalized disenfranchised young men who feel like they have no place in the world. Maybe they don't have a place in their offline social structure. Young men who feel like sexually disenfranchised. Maybe they're not having romantic partners, that they were wanting always. Like, so, and I'm not saying in his case, because he obviously had a romantic partner he wanted. But there's a trend for this. Disenfranchised young men like this are easy targets for extremist groups on the internet and these subcultures and circles, whether it's an organized group like ISIS or whether it's smaller groups like you're describing with the Gripers or even Antifa cells, major cyber stalking rings, right? So you see this to where they get into these echo chambers. They'll get sucked into these groups, and they're living their whole life, online in these groups, in echo chambers, hearing the same message over and over and over. And I think this is something that we as a society are going to have to address it, recognize, and figure out how we're going to deal with this, right? How are we going to deal with this as a society? And in the end, we were just dust and bone. Well, that's a very nihilist view of the world, that we're just doing in the now doesn't matter. I mean, we could argue in cases of certain things with physics that the now is all that matters. The present is relevant, and that's all right. Also, veins are on point today. We're all hard and vascular. How do we rate in the forearms today, guys? Where are we going to rate them on a scale of 10? Afternoon, we're carved up. Keep in mind, I'm an old dude. I'm about to turn 49. Got gray in my beard. So, any further thoughts from people? Where do you guys want to go with this? But Defiant, that is a good point too. To the far left, they describe anyone as a fascist who's right of Bernie Sanders. In other words, they'll take a classic liberal and call them a far-right extremist now. Well, we see that. People who voted for Bill Clinton back in the day, right? Thank you, forearms are 10 out of 10. They're hard and vascular. So, I mean, my generation, when Bill and Clinton was in office when I became an adult. People who voted for him back then would be called a right-wing extremist today by some of these groups. They would be calling them a fascist. And it's like, but they were classic liberals. We have this an interesting dynamic happening socially with all this stuff, don't we? Right? The extremes have gone so far. And it's really, I don't know, most of the right didn't go further. The left went further, but then the right has its own little sect of people who've gone off really extreme too. And you see some of these little groups that we do see in terms, especially I think the alt-right definitely represents some extremist groups for sure. Like I don't think we can deny that, right? Some of them are very extreme. The left, though, a lot of it is right there in the open, though. It's almost some of the extremists are right there in the mainstream, almost in positions of power. But you see that. But there is definitely both. Leftists and media also insist on dehumanizing their opposition, makes them targets. And that's true. That's true of all, but isn't that true of propaganda? Propaganda in general. Okay? You look at the history of political propaganda. It's a common tactic in any form of propaganda. Notice, not information, not necessarily ideology, but propaganda itself, you dehumanize. Greenpill, appreciate the super chat. Right? Appreciate that like, Chris. Tell them to hit that like button. But yeah, you're right. And when you dehumanize your opposition, it's easier to commit violence against them. Because again, as Voltaire said, if you can be convinced to believe absurdities, you can be convinced to commit atrocities. Okay. And I think that's a powerful statement. And I think it's one is both a warning and it's a tool that people use. Green pill, no, I'm not going to investigate him. I'm sorry. The people already told me it's not worth it, that I wouldn't even enjoy it and the other thing. Materna Barba says, I don't think it's helpful to call everyone a fascist. The leftists are keenly aware that classic liberals support authoritarianism if it means a capitalist order. And what's wrong with capitalism, though? It's been the most successful system for an overall high quality of life in society. Right? Right? No, I don't think, Kellen, I don't think this one's about foreign influence. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, by the way. Just an FYI. Now, you may be, you probably are. That's fine. That's your prerogative. That's your viewpoint. That's your worldview. You have a right to it. Because that's how freedom works. You know what? You want to believe conspiracy theories, you have a right to that, and you have a right to express that in a free society. I personally am not. I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe in things like the Illuminati. I just don't. And I've been down those rabbit holes when I was much younger. So I'm convinced it's largely ridiculous. But fair enough on some of the Epstein stuff. Yeah, there is a lot that still needs to be uncovered on that list, isn't there? Right? And I think that is something of interest that I think most of us out there would like to see that list. I think most right-thinking, reasonable people would like that information to be made public. They would like to know which celebrities and politicians were involved in that. I mean, I know that I would. A lot of rich and powerful people were involved in that. I think we have a right to know, and those people still need to be prosecuted if they're involved with, stuff involving sex trafficking and with minors and things. Favorite bench accessory, man, it's going to depend on where you're weakest. I can make a case for the incline bench. Proper hygiene. Now, I'm not going to discuss booty sex on here, dude. Come on. I'm not really a fan of booty sex, to be honest. It's not my thing. You can go research that yourself. Favorite bench accessory is going to depend on where you're weakest. If you're struggling to maintain a proper bar path near the lockout, any form of tricep work, close grip bench press extensions, right? Right? If you miss just off the chest, like if your sticking point is, say, 3 or 4 inches off the chest, the incline bench is a fantastic. So again, when you start talking bench accessories, it's, that. But I think for building a big bench, lots of pause benching itself is useful. I think weighted dips can be super useful for building a big bench just across the board. But again, kind of coming over to looking at where you're weakest is going to be kind of important in determining what the best accessories are. But like I said, I lean in the direction if you're missing right off the chest at that transition point, I think incline bench is really, really a really solid choice. But again, if you're struggling with maintaining the lockout bar path, like it drifts too far towards your face, that's a tricep issue. So tricep exercises. Okay. I can't seem to find a comfortable way front squat. Do you ever front squat? I don't these days because my shoulder range of motion will not really allow me to get into a correct rack position. I'm working on that, and when I get back to doing that, I may do some front squats. I like front squats. Right? I'm a fan of front squats. I was able to close the captains of crush gripper number 3 on both hands. Is good grip strength. Okay. Taming. Is that a serious question? That's like coming in here and saying, man, I hit a 700 deadlift for a double. Is that a pretty good deadlift? That's the equivalent of what you just asked me. Right? Closing a captains of crush number 3 gripper with both hands is crazy legit grip strength. right? It's a crazy good grip strength. Carol, I own back to them. By the way, I'm also on Facebook. If you'll hop in there, Broski, he always drops in there. Yeah, I put them back in today. I did 3 sets of them. Trying to focus on that stretch at the bottom. I really want to do most of them from a dead hang. I got spelled out of conspiracy theories, but take 9/11% for the building 7. Its own set of stuff there, man. But that's also another possible thing too. The whole building set. I don't really want to jump all down that. No, I don't believe our government did that, though. My opinion, and I'm fully aware of all this stuff. However, I will agree the building 7, a little suspicious. But I don't know. Do you only drink coffee pre-workout? I've been craving pre-workout lately. I don't do pre-workouts. I only drink coffee before all exercise. I train fasted. All my running, all my lifting is done fasted. So I just do black coffee first. So those 5K runs are all, and 5-mile runs I do are all fasted. All my training is fasted. So it's just black coffee. I'm not a fan of pre-workouts. The taming of Eli, I'm having trouble figuring out because I only did a month of direct training for it. I have crazy big hands. It must be. I'm going to go with okay. You're telling me that you closed at number 2.5 your first try, a captain to crush. Now you said you have crazy big hands. That's why. This is genetic. That is straight grip and hand genetics, right? That's crazy strong. But I'm assuming you've been doing other training. I was thinking Adderall. No, green pill. I wouldn't recommend that, man. Although I do know some people do that, and I know of different. Some people, I've heard of people doing that. I wouldn't personally think it would be a wise idea. Inspired by insomnia, do you recommend I try and front squat even if it's uncomfortable, like a back squat 4 or 5 for 10? Ask the grass will front squat. Yeah, you could get front squatting. Work with it. Work on your wrist mobility, right? And give it a try. No, I think front squats are a great exercise. Taming of Eli, I did weighted pull-ups and rows before I attempted it. I'm not even very good at those, thanks to my 6'8" wingspan. Right? Yeah, fair enough. Well, you got a 6'8" wingspan. You said you have crazy big hands. Yeah, this is genetics, right? Tyler says I'm on it for ADHD, but I've been tapering off. Yeah, fair. Talking about Adderall, I assume. Yeah. I know a lot of people out there who've been prescribed Adderall who are not super happy with all the effects and eventually want to get off of it. Again, you understand you're on it. Front squatting. I don't know. I don't think. Let me be clear. I like front squats. I just think back squats are the king of exercises. But I like front squats. I think they're a solid exercise. Taming of US, I've been able to palm a basketball since middle school. Otherwise, take care. I got to go. All right, take care, man. Glad to have you through. Glad you stopped through. Tyler says intelligence up, but social skills down. You're about on the ADHD meds on your Adderall. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, at least we're getting some diverse topics in here. All right, we're getting some diverse topics. Now what we need is we need Dean to come through matching the supers. Right? He does that. It's funny. Cracks me up when he does that. He'll get in contests. All right. Great. Like for great mentorship. Thank you. I appreciate it, Carol. He's over on Facebook. No one's been commenting on Facebook on this one. We had people in there this morning, though. We had people in the coffee chat. They were in there. No one's hitting it up yet in the afternoon so far. All right. So what you going to do? All right, what are you going to do? We can't run them all. Although I'm going to make a quick post here. And I'll be right back to you lovely people, and hopefully we have some more comments for me to answer. All right. Top side hustle for young men. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you for side hustles today. All right. I guess you could be a gigolo. Right. I don't know. I know people who do Uber and stuff for side hustles. Ooh, yeah, I've kind of heard that. Yeah, green pill. I know people who do that. Inspired by insomnia. If a steroid is in an ampule, does it make it more likely to be real? I know it's not 100%, but ampules cost money. How do I put this? It's a pretty good chance, but keep in mind, there's not that much fake, cheaper gear out there these days. There was a time period where there were fake ampules were being mass produced, though. In my youth, it was a thing. It was actually a thing. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. Green pill. Haranel says, I cut down from 210 to 165 over 8 months with breaks, about 15% body fat now. Would you recommend finishing cut around 10%? No, do go ahead and recomp, man. You're down to 165. Go ahead and just recomp. Jason, have you ever had issues with neck or trap tightness? Yes. Dude, if I sleep wrong on my pillow, okay, I'm 48, right? If I sleep wrong on my pillow, I got a crick in my neck that I'm over popping and snapping for days. You guys have seen it on the camera. That's because I've slept on my pillow wrong. I've had to work on getting better pillow angles, and it's just ridiculous. Right? I refuse to get old, but that one thing is not in my favor. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do rep work with 500 on deadlift. I'm gonna go run 5Ks barefoot several times a week, right? I'm gonna squat 500 pounds. I do all that stuff. We're good. I like really soft mattresses. I don't remember what my current firmness is, though. I do have a king size, though. I bought it about right at 3 years ago. Yeah, the neck on the sleeping is the one thing where I feel my age. Better pillows, pillow placement, learning how to, yeah, thank you, big bro. I find too much pillow is a problem. So really too much pillow is really problematic for me. Do you think any sort of myostatin blocker would be legit? I'm going to say with no, right? No. I think side effects from myostatin inhibition are in general going to be worse than anabolics. And so why are you even trying to do that? This is probably not a pathway we want to mess with a whole lot. Given the side effects and problems of people who have the gene for it, it's not the best thing, right? Stream be popping, big dog. It's doing okay. I've had stronger ones lately. I've definitely had one that hit like 80 viewers for a bit this week and last week. Peppermint coaches, go appreciate it, man. Flo says, base Blaha about to hit chest after being AWOL for 2 weeks due to salmonella. Oh, that sucks, man. Right? I think our super chat. Yeah, I mean, super chats help, definitely. Myostatin blockers are indeed being tested on monkeys currently, I believe. Again, I'm not thinking this is going to be a super wise idea for humans, though, realistically. I wouldn't touch it personally. I don't mess with insulin. I know plenty of guys who do. Dry needling gets all the tension out of the traps really quick, surprisingly. I'm not sure I believe in any of that, any of the acupuncture and stuff, It falls under, for me, kind of potential quackery. But, if you're enjoying it and it's within your budget and you seem to get some effect, I'm not going to tell you to stop doing it. But we got veins everywhere. What do y'all think? We got veins popping out. All right. Got that drain pipe running down my arm. That's the left arm. My scar. Green pill just keep going because I like girl blood. No, I don't know that I want to do LASIK. Maybe I'd consider it one day. Right now, not really. I feel like my glasses make me look wise and distinguished. Like, look, I got the glasses on. I look smart and wise. I take them off. I don't look as wise. Just have the rocks people eyebrow. I look like a meathead, right? I look like a roided up meathead without the glasses. But I put the glasses on. It's like a pow. I look wise and intelligent. Right? That's right. The people's eyebrow. Green pills are the like. Well, at least we're getting supers in here. It's rolling. Even if it's all green pill, they all add up. Appreciate it, man. Glasses equals distinguish. Exactly, man. Is bag puss natural? No, dude. Bag puss hits the trend pretty hard. You missed that video, didn't you? In fact, it was in the court documents where bag puss injected Ryan Doris the sheep with tren on camera. It was literally in those court documents for that lawsuit. So, bag puss pretty handy with the tren. For those curious, it was Diet Mountain Dew in the thing. Everyone's like, it looks like real tren. Oh my God, it was Diet Mountain Dew. Because it looked close enough. Jordan Peters said natural bodybuilders' results are more impressive because you can see more striations and detail. Enhanced bodybuilders have so much scar tissue to see. There's truth to that. Yeah, no, you're good. That is true. All those injections in the belts are going to blur that almost permanently due to that scar tissue. I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree there. Right? You're going to see less striations, particularly in that whole lateral head where they're pinning it mostly. Right? Yep. Because keeping in mind, it's not just bodybuilders, but doctors. Hello, coach. How are you doing today? I'm doing good. That is actually considered a legitimate intramuscular injection site, even for anabolics medically. So, like, it's actually a medically approved location for some of them. But bodybuilders go ham on it. Cosplay, I'm 6'7". I was 290. 315 times 3. You're talking about the bench. Now you're 250. So you've lost 40 pounds and your bench is down 40 pounds for 3. You're just going to have to build that bench back up. Honestly, you're just going to have to work at it. But I mean, look, in my case, like, I'm down weight and my bench is almost back to where it was at a heavier body weight. Right? Inspire says I inject 3 times a week and just rotate between glutes and my lats will scar tissue bigger amounts. It's going to depend on carrier oils, needles. Honestly, the carrier oils themselves, what's even in it, can impact scar tissue. It's not, and it's volume of it. It's not going to be just the frequency. It's still going to come down to oil volumes. Right? Tyler says what happened to me. I have a higher body fat percentage on high dose of tests. Like, what happened to you with it? Jason, off topic question, but respectfully, any wisdom you could give to ensure good outcomes when interacting with police and law enforcement? Had a really rude officer pull me over without cause recently. I've been let off with a warning. My advice be as polite and super chill as possible. Here's the thing. The more polite and cooperative you are, the more likely that they're going to behave also. Right? Number 2, people say, well, you're just going to let them do. No, it's not about that. Because if they do violate your rights, the more cooperative you are, the better it's going to look if you need to sue. Right? So if a lawsuit happens, if they really are doing something incorrect and they're violating your rights, keeping yourself out of trouble is the best thing you can do. You're going to make way more money when you sue them later. Because I don't know anything about Doc Hit. I only know of his existence through my super chats. I've never actually heard of him or seen him outside of this. Joker's a classic coach, right? So generally speaking, North American, be polite, be respectful, be cooperative. There's a problem. You're going to look so much better. It says, warning, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. It says, my connection is unstable. You know what? I am too, but I still work. Right? All right. We still in here, guys? Did we keep the stream? It's telling me my connection is unstable. What's that all about? Checking all that. No, we're good. Okay. He gave me a warning. He said your connection is unstable. All right, cool. We're good. Peppermint he does a little purple face when it's so let me know I'm good. So it sounds like there's no value in meeting their rudeness with aggression in any way. Politeness is the key. Yep. I know a lot of police officers personally, like in my inner circle. And I can tell you once, like if there's a problem, if they're pissed at you and they're going to look for anything to throw at you. So anything that they can do to do a resisting arrest, you being too rude, cussing at them or something, they're going to see if they can cite you for something. And they're more likely to be worse. They tend to, if you're super polite and respectful, it de-escalates them, even if they had a really negative start. It tends to de-escalate them as a general rule. But yeah, definitely don't meet them with rudeness. It's never going to work out for you well, unfortunately. Is Michael Hearn a good source of info? No, he's a fake natty. Yeah, honestly, his training is great. Right? Are you concerned with microplastics? I think we should all be concerned with microplastics. Unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do about that. Right? Opinion using short form content clippers to spam. No, I do. Actually, that's picking up my Instagram right now. I don't like TikTok. My Instagram is starting to slowly pick up from all my little shorts and stuff because my Facebook double dips, like it posts all of them there too. Right. Tyler says filter striations are gone, and yet you can't argue with a cop unless you're polite as possible about it. Yeah, you're gonna have to be super chill. You can blow up a short plates. As long as you think you will continue training full body and miss the squat and deadlift day bench workouts, I'm probably gonna keep it up for a while. I'm finding it really workable with my running. With me doing the running several days a week, it really flows well with it. Like it's a really good balance. The freaky monkey, what do you think of them veins? What do you think about that? Of course, people will be like, he's over here got a pulp. I've been sitting here for 38 minutes. It's called eating carbs. I carved up. I broke my fast over 3 hours ago, started eating breakfast. Do you like your favorite car I've had? My 1980 Chevy Silverado. I had a 383 stroke rate. I wrecked it. I fell asleep, completely sober. I fell asleep, wrapped it around a pole. How would you rather live a life to 30 and leave a huge mark on the world would be remembered for generations? What? I don't know about that. Since I'm 48, I would rather not be dead at 30. You ever had a muscle car at that circle? High carb, moderate to high protein, or low fat is really a solution to any. It can be, not to any. I mean, there can be a place for healthy fats, but it's a good way to go, right? It's a really good way to go for body composition. Do you recommend 60, 30, 20? I don't recommend percentages at all. Thoughts on mechanically adjustable dumbbells? I haven't owned any really. I suppose they're good. They just seem a little limited. Have you had alligators? Disgusting. I will never eat it again. Do you think you will ever do natty or knots again? I don't currently have plans. Honestly, if I'm going to cover current events, it's going to be stuff like this. I don't care about the fitness community. Like, if I'm gonna be honest, if I'm gonna discuss stuff outside of my channel, we're gonna discuss bigger stuff than the fitness world. I don't care about the goofball cesspool of the fitness world. I just don't. Love you, Jason. I'm sorry I'm mentally ill. It's all good, Green Pill, man. You know, it's all good, man. I know a lot of people who are mentally ill who are still good people at the end of the day. You know, do you find your police bills easy to relate to? Yeah. How they compare to regular friends? I mean, some of my inner circle, like they're my homies. The Ice Cream Fitness 5x5 was written for one of them. Like, it was written for a police officer, actually. That was the first test subject was a cop. So you got great views. Yeah, but they wouldn't do that again now. I don't think they would get anywhere near those type of views today, especially not me doing them. I've got to branch out and do stuff like this. But if we ever visit the UK again, I don't intend on renewing my passport. Yeah, this is way more interesting. YouTube fitness is just not interesting. It's not. It's so ridiculously boring. I can't make myself care about it. Maddie or not is just redundant at this point. Most content consumers are exposed enough to know what is possible and natural, and if they're just too stupid to learn, or they're just too stupid to learn, right? You know, and it's just the same stuff. Do we want to just cover the same talking points again? You go to jail for your life for love. I don't know. Honestly, at my age, a year of no training could be really problematic for my health. So I don't know about that. But do you have the $1 million? Do you have the $1 million? Like, if you're going to ask a scenario like that, you need to have the money ready. Yep. Thanks, Coach. Adios. Take care. Take care, homie. So, yeah, let's keep this flowing. We're getting some good topics and questions here, man. We've already covered this stuff for the main topic. That'll keep people flowing. I'm not a fan of meditation personally. I do other stuff, but I'm just not really into it. Have you ever gambled in your life? Like, what do you mean? How do you define gamble? Have I ever played poker for $5 or $10? Yes. Thoughts on Nick? I keep seeing him referenced. I don't know anything about him. He's not on my radar. I read about him just now when people brought up the gropers, whatever they were. Apparently, he's the head of their movement. He's like an alt-right guy or something. That's my thoughts. He's an alt-right guy who's the head of the gropers. I learned this today. That's everything I know about him. Has Justin been following you for years now? Would you ever collab with Genova? No. Why would you ask something so moronic? Why would you even care about Genova? Actually, you got to go, man. Even caring about Genova makes you too weird to be allowed to post here. You guys to go. Get out of here. Bye. I just can't. No. Get out of here. Even having an opinion or asking something like that, it's just, no, you're a weirdo. You're just too weird for my stream. And that's saying a lot. All right. As soon as that little thing disappears, I'll be able to see y'all's comments. Uh-oh. It's not disappearing. Did that ruin the stream? There it goes. Would you do streams where you react to content? No, I'm not doing reactions. Because occasionally there are problems and channels get shut down for it, I'm not going to put other people's content and react. I'm not interested in doing it. I'm not interested in doing reaction content. Come on, reconnect. Wait, it's reconnected. I think we're good. We lost some viewers. Greenfield says, sorry, Jason, I've been trying to get my life together for the past 2.5 years. I'm autistic and feel strange to assist with you in your live streams. Hey, Greenfield, I get that. Just, if you would, man, avoid the other crazy stuff. You know, it's fine to do in the streams, But you do know one of them that we had a problem with, like you were mentioning, someone who's a crazy hater, and I mean, dude, like, could you just please avoid that? You can follow my work and my streams without going and digging into the crazies who are obsessed with me. I would appreciate that. Is that fair? Do you follow open bodybuilding anymore? No, Nick Walker's progress. I think Nick Walker's hideous. I think all of it's hideous now. I don't follow it. I think it's a freak show and they're all dying. I think it's horrible. My opinion, freaky. I think modern open bodybuilding is a freak show of death. Gosh, well, I've seen you squatting with a bent type of bar. It's called a buffalo bar. Buffalo bar, right? You can read up on it a lot. There's a lot of material out there on buffalo bars. A lot of it has to do, if we're talking squatting, not other things. Benching, it's a completely different. Squatting with it, it's really just about shoulder and hand position. It's just more comfortable. It's easier to get into a low bar position without cranking your shoulders up. Do you think to some extent that results in the gym, be progress or income are somewhat genetically predetermined, like our max potential is sealed? There's some truth to that. It's not an absolute, though. I mean, obviously, you're going to have genetic potential for a variety of things, right? But it's not always going to be an absolute. But of course, genetics are going to affect a lot of stuff that we do. It's going to affect cognition. It's going to affect everything. You're going to have to be more specific, Chris. I know of multiple marks. Everyone's maximum potential is determined at consent to some extent, yeah. Also, growth is mostly, genes are a factor. I wouldn't say mostly, but it is a significant factor. Meaning, yeah, genes, because every species has genes, but if you're talking variation from person to person, it's a factor, but it's not massive. How are you doing, Lars? One of my most consistent fans and followers. All right, in the chat. So yeah, as Frank said, Chris, you might want to be specific. I don't know of any person named Mark who started taking up squatting it yet. I know of multiple Marks who have been at different points in the lifting world out there. Let's hit a like for Coach. Forearm veins. There we go. Right, veins on point. Veins are on point tonight. We're all carved up. There we go. Bringing the views back up. All right. Chris never went into who he was talking about. Would you debate with other YouTubers on your live streams? Probably not. I mean, if I'm being paid for it, what am I debating? What are we debating? What is it that we're debating, I suppose? I don't know. I've never done like a formal debate. Fitness topics. So you want me to debate with a bunch of people about whatever nonsense they're marketing? I've had multiple accounts, but I'm sorry, Jason. Well, it's okay, Green Pill. Here's what I'm gonna ask. Try to do better. Is that fair? So can you do better? Instead of saying you're sorry, just do better, bro. That's it. How's that sound? Right. I don't know what is it am I debating with these fitness people about? I'm here to teach, not get into debates that don't help anybody or prove anything. See what finds for any BS, I guess, right? Some people literally do not gain muscle from great training. They're genetically have potential, blah, blah, blah. I know someone like that would not gain substantial muscle no matter what, how you train. That's a very small minority of people. Does carbohydrates make your veins? Yes. So notice in my coffee chats when I'm fasted, they're gone. I'm like over 3 hours into my feed window. So I've already had like 400 grams of carbs this afternoon. So now it's like, right? We got veins in the bicep. Everything gets bigger. Everything fills out. Your lips do the talking at your age, big road note. And that's kind of the point. That would be my debate. They would want to argue and be like, I'm 48 years old. You can squat 500 pounds, calibrated plates. What are we arguing? Can I hire you as a coach? You have to put in an application, Green Pill. I mean, I have open slots. You could put in an application and take it from there. What are your current opinion on tofu as a staple protein source and daily saturated fat recommendations? It's going to be hard to do. Look, as far as plant-based goes, tofu is pretty good. The problem is ultimately it's very hard to get really ideal protein from a plant source. I mean, it could help, but realistically, you still ideally need a little bit of animal source protein with there. Right? Saturated fat should be kept very low. I tend to agree with what all the data and researchers and the American Heart Association say. It should be no more than 10%, ideally less than 10% of your calories. Speaking of being gains, would you debate him? Why would I debate him on what? What are we debating? What are you doing, Green Pill? What did he even spell? Do you think some pro bodybuilders are not only genetically gifted with muscle, but also better sensitivity to androgens? Possibly. No, I think it's oftentimes. I think it's. What is he even writing? Okay. No, I think they have. How do I put it? Some of them are more resistant to side effects. They can run more. Should I get my dad on TRT Bros 57? And it's sad seeing him lose strength. Fertility wouldn't be an issue in his past. Would you recommend? I don't know. Is his testosterone low? That would be the first question. All right. I wish you did seminars, bro. My gym owner mentioned he would love to have you come to our gym. He had Ed Cohen before as a teaching seminar. All right. So if he's got low testosterone, yeah, I definitely might recommend he go talk to a doctor about it. Wouldn't be a bad idea, right? Wouldn't be a bad idea. Green Pill, what the heck are you doing? I'm just leaving it because he dropped a bunch of super chats, Oh, man. Hey, Green Pill, you just apologize for being weird. I know it's strange. He dropped a bunch of super chats, too. If you could own a gym, would you want to, or like a private gym? I'm inspired. I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe one day. Right now, it wouldn't be feasible just due to a lot of stuff out there. Greenfield, paying to play, fair enough, right? Yeah, if this is you doing better, I don't think you're doing the job. Yeah, he's not hurting anybody. I can make up my mind whether green pills, of course, are good. Right? He's dropped a bunch of little small supers all day, including breakfast chat. Coach, you have any instinctual fears spiders? Yeah. I don't do spiders, dude. I'm surprised that hasn't come out for many of my exes. Like, I kill spiders. Like, I kill every spider I see. I don't even play around like that. Don't bring your pet spider near me either. Better keep it covered. Jay Masters is your hero. Okay. All right. Spiders are gross, yeah. I don't like spiders. I've been bit by a black widow and a brown recluse. I don't like spiders. Yeah. I'm in my orc mode training here. All right, cool, Mafia. What are you doing with your orc mode training? What's going on with that? What's up with it? Tell us about it. I let all spiders live. They will kill all the other. Yeah, the problem is they want to kill you. All spiders are venomous. Actually, that's a fact. Right here in Greenfield, no wonder you're depressed. How high out of the normal range would testosterone have to be to get beyond psychological dose? What? I don't understand your question. I feel like you're using code. What do you mean? I don't. Defiant Trill. I don't understand your question. Please ask it a different way. What's the difference between orc mode and microhertz training? I don't know. Orc mode is just a name I've used at different points. Our cat eats all the spiders we have in the house. Cats are like cheat code for getting rid. Yeah, they are. I've seen cats do that too. They sort it out real quick. So you sound large. It sounds like you got good cats. You know. Yeah, orc mode is definitely not as natty as Michael Hearn's training. Like Michael Hearn is so natty that he's super natty. So his training is not just natty training; it is super natty training. I stopped taking creatine to notice no difference without it, to be honest, except for looking slightly skinnier. Well, we can't be looking skinnier, bro. A lifter should not look skinny, right? Lifter should not look skinny. I look skinny. You know, that's the funny thing. It's like I always tell guys, if you don't look big in a t-shirt, do you even lift? So everyone always on the internet's like, they'll be like, you have tiny arms, but then in a t-shirt, I get compliments on my arms in public. So let me demonstrate so you guys can understand. So, right, they look reasonably good size in a t-shirt. But, I mean, you got to look like you lift in a shirt. Charlie. Any new plans? Hey, Frank, I don't discuss my plans in general. You know, as a general rule, I've learned do not discuss your plans with others. I've been told by numerous friends out there of mine that I have a bad habit of that. Green pill, why do you got to do that? Come on now. Right. How do you decide when you've invested enough cash into your coaching, it's time to focus on other goals like investing? My bro coaches and has spent thousands of dollars on. What? What do you mean? I don't invest any of it. What are you talking about? I don't go do certifications or waste of time. What sort of pants do you like? I have slim boot jeans and things like that for when I wear boots. I mean, I have cargo shorts. I have blue jeans. Right? That's right. You have a bunch of weirdos. And if people know your plans, they can stop them. Right? The more people know about your plans, the more they can plot against you to derail your plans. Right? The more they know. Yeah, don't tell people your plans. So it's just like, what are your plans? You should lie about them. If anything, you should lie about your plans if you discuss them. That way you throw people off. What's the best way to enhance recovery in your intermediate off-season program? Relax, higher quality diet, sleep. This is great to have the time to stream so much now. This is amazing how many hours per day. I've been doing a lot. We've been doing a lot. We've been doing like 3 hours lately. And it's working out nicely. Right, it all balances out in the end. It's been getting followers, views. I'm not going to go into how many clients I have, honestly. I'd like to have more. Less than I would like. How's that? We could use more clients. But it's not exceeding natural limits. What? That was a weird way to start a conversation. We missed something in that conversation. I need to get myself back to work. I have too much time on my hands. Got to get back to work going. By definition, it wouldn't have been TRT. Oh, okay, you're talking about his other question about the TRT. Yeah, I mean, if it exceeds the physiological amount, it's not really TRT, is it? Because what does TRT mean? Testosterone replacement dose. If you're outside the normal range, it's not a replacement. So he is correct. By the definition, it is not TRT. Yep. Have a good one, Green Pill. Appreciate the super chats, even if you're being a little weird. All good, man. So, man, it got quiet all of a sudden. We passed the hour. So hopefully if this picks up a little, I'll run it a little longer, though. If it picks up. Green Pill is a hater, and so are Peppermint. Well, I don't know about that. 22 likes. If you're in the range of normal, injection test behaves differently. What? Yeah, Green Pill makes things lively. He always drops supers over and over, though. Packing for a flight while listening, right? I'm still here, Bill. Awesome, North America. Like you're talking rubbish side. Yeah. Well, I don't know about Peppermint. You know. Now, Lars, on the other hand, but Lars behaves while he's in here. My hands are tied. Do you think boys ask the cues? Okay, guys, she's going to Spain. Test binds the androgen receptors in tissue and stays there for quite some time. A natural guy may have. I don't care if my haters watch. I just don't want them trash talking in here. As long as they're not disrupting my stream. Right? Hey, Jason, new to this channel. I've heard really tell me about you. Awesome. Cool. Right? Like, I don't care if haters are in here. I just don't want them creating problems and posting nonsense generally. Right? There's going to be haters in here. Question is, can they behave? I got a question. How come most gym goers don't do the barbell squat? Because they're lazy. Because they're lazy. They're told to be scared of it. But usually it's the laziness. Yeah. A natural guy may have low test, but just low free test. He can be quite strong and muscular with low free test. What? Squatting is hard and most people avoid hardship, right? Hello, Jason. What's your current body weight? I'm sitting at 209 to 210. Some days I'm 209. Right in that range when we wake up. The super dude is back. Yep. A great litmus test for an influencer is if they squat heavy or at least have squatted 5 plates in the past, right? Free test is the most important reading, but you can only do so much to control free tests. Like, really, the only factors are your SHBG levels relative to your total testosterone. So it determines it. What's acceptable for average Joe on the barbell squat, Jason? Their body weight times what? What? Their body weight times 5? That'd be a lot. I don't know what the average Joe. How are we defining the average Joe? You know, the average guy who goes to the gym is probably not a very big squat. Yeah, the average Joe squats like 60. I mean, to be fair, Lars isn't wrong on that one. We've all been to enough gyms over the years. We've seen this, right? We've all seen it. If you're a natural, free test means like nothing. I have a friend who's over 800 free tests. No, it is what matters. What are you on about? Tips on dealing with weirdos. You've really dealt with more than your fair share of weirdos. Frank, you just deal with it, man. You just deal with it. Another respectful off-topic question. Are you lived in different countries? Any wisdom for connecting with neighbors and making things easier in a new neighborhood? New Texan here. So based on your spelling, you're in Texas now, right? Are you from the UK? A lot of haters have become fans. Some don't realize this, right? Yeah. Okay. So your accent will go over really well with Texans. Just act friendly and act interested in the Texas way of life, right? And you'll be really good. Just introduce yourself. Yeah, just go out, meet people, chat with them. Go introduce yourself. Dude, in Texas, assuming you're not like in a really bad area, just go introduce yourself to neighbors and let them know you're new here. You moved over from the UK. Dude, you'll be good. Right? Again, people are very friendly. Right? Yeah, very, very friendly. Especially new neighbors. Yeah. Think about moving to Texas. Yeah, just who's my ex? Which person is my ex and which ex? Mafia. You do realize I have multiple exes. I've had multiple long-term relationships. What? Were people friendly when you lived in the UK? So. Not as much as Texas. We're living in Texas while not liking football? No. It could be one of three. One of three. How many exes do you guys think of have? How are we defining an ex? Like how long does someone have to be in a committed relationship to count as an ex? So give me a number and I'll tell you how many exes I have. So you've been in a committed relationship for 1 month or longer and had sex during that. Is that fair? Like agreed to being in a committed relationship for at least a month and had sex at some point during that point. All right, I need to figure out how many exes I have. Can I count living and dead? Because not all of them are alive. Okay, let me go down the road. It's gonna take a minute. 8. So I had to actually count. So 8. So you said only 3. There's only 3 I guess you guys know of. It should be more than you guys only know about 3. Wow. Okay. I think T-sports is the most boring thing in the world to understand the hype. What are your thoughts? I'm not a fan of team sports, really, personally. Not my thing. I mean, they're okay. I can watch them. I'm just not a fan. So that's fair. If you have a super high SHBG weight and jumping on TRT free, I mean, Desmond, not necessarily. It's not necessarily going to free it up. You're just going to have more testosterone. So therefore, you're going to have more free tests. Coach myself, of those 8 exes, which were worthy to introduce your family wife material? I married 2 of them. How many of them met my family? Met at least one member of my family. Four of them met my family. One of them almost did, but they didn't. All right. You be watching the Ryder Cup? No. You explore the role of free test as opposed to bound. Yeah, free test is biologically active. Bound test doesn't do anything. It doesn't bind to receptors. It doesn't do anything. It's currently inactive. Team sports so lame, just advertise for now on. Yeah. Half is great, clear you have high standards. Well, I don't know about those high standards, North. Jesus Christ. See me shaking my head like, yeah, no, I've definitely made some bad choices there in some cases. All right, man. I've definitely been fooled a couple times. No, my understanding was that bound test is just test. No. Bound test is test that's bound to the SHBG molecule floating around biologically inactive. It can't bind to the receptor because it's got a protein stuck to the side stopping it. Serum hormone binding globulin is making it inactive. What's the worst you've been fooled without being too personal? I feel like it would give some stuff away that I don't want online. I've definitely been fooled. I definitely had one chase me on me, like chased me big time. And I turned her down multiple times. And then when I got with her, she was a cheating hoe. My hand is sitting on my thigh. I'm moving my leg, so that's what you're saying. All right, see my leg, see my quads, my calf, my veins. Yeah, it's great. It's great to have an incomplete understanding corrected. Yeah. While we're on the topic, how do you dust yourself off after women have done you dirty? I struggle. Man, how many times I've been cheated on? Out of those 8, I had 3 cheat. 3 out of 8. But one of them was definitely a ho. You know. Yeah. Oh, I caught her running the game. No, it actually wasn't. Do you hate your hated? I feel sorry for them, honestly. To be that obsessed and to have their own weird, just to make up their own crazy lore and legacy about me, with incomplete facts and fabrications. Yeah, to be that obsessed with someone who's a fitness person to that degree is just weird. What's sad about the cheating is I bet money they tried to come back after they cheated. No, the one I was talking about got angry. She dumped me when I caught her. So when I caught her and she knew she got caught, she dumped me. But she wasn't going to. Like, she was telling me the day before that she loved me and wanted to marry me and everything. She didn't know that I do, and I was real chill about it. I sat on it for a minute. Like, okay, I'm gonna wait just a bit. I wanted to see how if she was gonna fess up to it. Yeah. Oh, she's cray. Can you play some guitar? I still play. I'm not gonna get up here playing right now. Oh, the dude told me. Yeah, she's for the streets. Yeah, I think the whole hyperbaric chamber thing is ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, man, what a 304. So he should, but when he showed her our conversation later, he showed her the conversation. She dumped me when she found out that she got caught. I sat on it for just a bit. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be real chill about this. I'm gonna see what she does. I'm not gonna go there, Greenville. Um, the one I'm talking about, you guys don't know. It's like you don't know, so it's okay. It was never a publicly known relationship. Eddie Hall is a very intense individual. Exactly. Exactly. We're probably going to wind this down, though. It's about that time, guys. What's going on, guys? I think we're about to shut it down, though. We've had a nice, long, productive stream. Log off the Facebook. Oh, Jay's asking. Yeah, I caught it. I caught it happening. Yeah, we winded it down. Love you guys and cut down the Facebook. All right, guys, we're out. I will catch you guys again in the morning. We'll probably do a breakfast chat. We'll probably do a run. So take care, guys.